This is Dominic D'Angelo of adfreeshows.com, SEScoops.com, and OneTrueSportTV.com. Why am I in reverse? This is weird. My cat's here. I don't think he's the reason why I'm in reverse. Let me see if I can switch up the settings here. This is FaceTime. Here we go. Boom. That's what we got right there. Now we're back in business. How's everybody doing? Sorry, I'm a little late. There was I had issues with my computer here. Tried to set it up and I had to restart it. My camera wasn't working, nothing. My audio wasn't working, nothing going on. Razor's hanging out. We will have maybe another special guest popping in here briefly, I'd imagine. But yes, we had Winter is Coming. It showed up. What'd you guys think? Did you like it? I thought it was a pretty decent show. I do have some criticisms, but from the in-ring standpoint, it was a good show. Like fun matches, pretty cool environment. Like to see them and play a little bit more in the cross promotion of their shows, kind of what we were talking about yesterday, right? If you guys were tuned in. Let's give some shout outs. Speaking of which, to people in the chat. Johnny Disco says, good day, RNI. I thought this was the late one today. I thought I was I was the late one today. So you showed right up on time, Johnny. Happy birthday, Sabu, who was a surprise guest when RVD and Katie went live on Only Wrestlers. That's awesome. Did not know that. They were at the Nerd Bar. Nerd Bar's a great place too, by the way. You should show up.
Oh my God.
Hey, Kev, what's up?
I'm not Robert Karpelis.
I'm not Robert Karpelis either, but I am today.
I wanted to get my green screen down. I'm ruining the fantasy that I record things.
Oh no!
Chroma key.
You mean to tell me that wasn't a real ring behind you?
Shh.
What?
Keep it kayfabe, brother. Keep it chroma key kayfabe, brother.
Oh my God, that's treacherous.
Two bald dudes, one screen. They can't handle it. They can't handle all this ball, baby.
Bald is beautiful, guys.
Bald is beautiful.
Yes.
A once great man said that.
That's right. I don't know who that was, though. Who did say?
Stone Cold? Recall.
Stone Cold?
We're gonna have to have some internet detectives out there. Go jump on that one.
Who coined the phrase "bald is beautiful"? Let us know, everybody.
Wow! Whoa! Robert looks different.
Yeah. So much different.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kev Kellum. I'm Kevin Kellum. That's who I am.
A former WrestleZone tag team partner.
WrestleZone! A jingle I got written into our podcast that now sometimes gets yelled at me at wrestling shows.
No way, really?
I had someone say that to me I was at Dynamite a few weeks ago, and I had someone say that to me. I almost dropped my drink. And some people come over and they don't know who I am. They don't say my name or anything. I'm not claiming to be internet famous. This isn't like toot my own horn. This is literally something I did years ago that WrestleZone had a following, it still does. Yeah. Shout out to the Zoni families, all the Zonies out there.
Out there.
All the Zonies. I never called them Zonies. So when I was doing the show, I had my roommate write a song. I gave him 2 notes. I said, Ultimate Warrior and Mortal Kombat. I said, can you write something like that with a guitar riff and a keyboard, like a synth line to it? Yeah. And he wrote, and it's so ridiculous. And he goes, well, does it need lyrics? I was like, yeah, just something that really drags out WrestleZone. All it is just WrestleZone. It's so over the top and silly. So now I have people yelling that at me. Yes, the phrase, Eric says, the phrase bald is beautiful is commonly attributed to John Capps of Morehead City, North Carolina, who started the Bald-Headed Men's Convention.
Wow.
He's credited with popularizing the phrase. Actually, per Google AI. Google AI don't own the business, brother, because we're talking about the 24-inch pat downs of Hulk Hogan and the Ruthless Aggressionary. He's coming back. He's doing a rest hold. He's doing some charisma, all right? He's doing a rest hold. He's working out a rest hold, and he's wagging a finger, all right? He's putting them knee braces on. He's working smart, not dumb, all right?
That's it.
And he's only bumping a little bit, just some. He's just bumping some.
That
was a good era Hulk Hogan. Ruthless Aggression Hulk Hogan was not as bad as people remember it.
Oh my God, I was a pretty big mark at it.
That was a good little I wish his career kind of I was doing a video. I was working on some videos, sports key to wrestling. I was working on some videos, and it was about like bad worst matches, like the people who had matches. And in retrospect, this is probably a bad match, right?
Yeah.
And I said we got to get Hulk in there in this series of videos we're doing. And they're like, why? Like, why? What was the last match? I was working with the producers on this. His last matches weren't on TV. Hulk Hogan's last match, the last time he got in the ring and put a hold on somebody, was not televised.
Wasn't it in Australia? Was that when he did it?
It was in UK for TNA. It was in 6-man tag matches and stuff.
Badass.
So limited things he could pull off. Like when he was in TNA, he did very limited physicality. He wrestled on TV, I think, for them one time. You know, and there was back surgery. He had so many different health issues there in TNA when he was there, like serious back issues, right? So, but they didn't televise. Mind you, maybe it wasn't. It was just a glorified come out, let him do a handful of things and some punches and big boots, and that's okay. That's completely fine. You can still have a great match, do that. But they wanted me to put Ric Flair's last match on there. I was like, I was at it. And though it was not a great match, I don't think it's a bad retirement match because it was momentous, and it was, and you got what you wanted. You wanted the momentum out of it. You didn't get a great match; you got a great moment. So like that. So when I made that to the point to them of like, if you just watch it as the entrance and a handful of spots, it's great. It's fine. Match is 10 minutes too long. You shouldn't have bled. So that's fine. But what are you going to do? What are we talking about today? I've put us off kilter by about 4 minutes.
Yeah. No, the pomp and circumstance for Ric Flair's last match was all good. And it's like how it was showcased, and like the event itself was a lot of fun. So
you and I were both there. Weren't we both there?
Yeah, I was helping out behind the scenes and everything like that.
Yeah, I was going to say you were working the show.
I was working the show, man. Yeah, it was fun.
I was working the show and covering it. And then I got roped into doing some post-show things for ad-free shows at the time and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah. And they said you can do a post-show and you can say exactly what you think of the show. I was like, that is bold.
That's
about the show afterwards.
Things here when ad-free shows, like you're not confined to like having to adhere to what the group thought is or anything like that. You can kind of say your own thing here, and we do that a lot.
Wrestling old head, love this. With the more bald-headed conversation. Casually, when meeting a fellow baldy, after introductions, I say, I think I know you. Do we go to the same barber?
Hey.
Oh, hey.
I like it. I do like it. Kev, yeah, I mean, well, what we're talking about today is a little bit of the winter is coming. It happened last night, AEW. I believe it was in Kansas City. And it was a good crowd, but what were your overall thoughts of the show? And
you tell me. I was busy with Q101 this week. We have our big Aragon Ballroom shows.
Yeah.
And we had a run. We had All American Rejects. I have my backstage pass right there. Look at that.
Ooh, look at you.
Yeah, the Aragon. Yes. We had All American Rejects. We have Smashing Pumpkins president of the NWA. Billy Corgan will be on stage tonight.
How about that? He's an ongoing topic on our Rumor and Innuendo here.
Do we get to cover Billy? Do we get to cover Billy Corgan, NWA, and the CW at the end of the show?
Not today. We don't. Maybe we'll get to it. We might get to it though. It's not on the CW anymore. So
I'm just talking about the running joke that 5 people that watch the show every day will remember. Yeah.
Oh yes, we're aware of it.
Winter's coming. How is AEW doing here? Was this a strong pivotal moment for them? I will say the talking point of the show though was the return of Toni Storm.
Yes,
she came out. She was certainly emotionally back out there, but we got Toni Storm. We got rock and roll, dressing up like she's a Motley Crue mascot, kick-ass gal from Australia.
Yeah.
We didn't get timeless Toni Storm.
No. And you know what? Geez, I almost called you Robert. You know what, Kevin?
It's okay. I'll take it.
I'm okay with it. I think it's actually...
The more you call me that, I make more money, right? Is that how it works?
That's how it does work. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know from where, but yeah, hopefully.
I'm the Jim Ross introduces me like you own the IP of Robert Karpolis.
Yeah. You're the soap opera replacement of Robert Karpolis.
I'm the fake like fake Diesel, fake Razor Bone.
Yeah. I like the move though, bringing her back to her old style, because I think you wanted to make sure that Timeless Tony Storm was a hot gimmick, and you didn't want it to overstay its welcome. And I don't think it was near there yet, but it was kind of maybe getting close. I think if they couldn't get more creative with it, so I think this is a good pivot. And I think I'm just really intrigued to see what Tony does with her old persona. Like, how will she connect with the fans that she wasn't able to when she first made that debut in AEW with that gimmick? You know what I mean? What are your thoughts on it?
I just think it's such a red hot character, and AEW doesn't have too many like pronounced characters, where they're a character before you think of anything else. And that's not a bad thing. There are very few people that you can say they are this, they're this type of representation. They're this character, there's a lot of aerial assassins in All Elite Wrestling, but there's Will Ospreay too, but like that term doesn't like sting the way Timeless Tony Storm does. They, for lack of a better phrase, they need some sports entertainment, and she was that, and was able to pull it off gracefully because she was in the WWE system, knew how to frame the camera, knew how to make the vignettes truly matter when she wasn't in the ring, and it was a character you look forward to seeing even when she wasn't wrestling. So like when you have that's really good for week-to-week television, 52 weeks a year. But obviously you can't have characters like that who don't burn out their welcome. I hope at some point they figure out how to do some duality with it, or just, retcon oh yeah, she returned as this, but fans clearly wanted Timeless, so here we go. You're getting Timeless Tony Storm again.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing too about bringing this back is like you can always kind of like make an easy pivot from it and pivot back to the Timeless Tony Storm gimmick if need be. Like you could, I mean, like she's clearly like the personality switch is there. You've already set that up, so you can do it again. And so I think if what she's doing here with her old gimmick, if it's not really working or clicking, you can always pivot back. I'm not against though, kind of trying to give this a ride. See, maybe like her having that creative freedom to be this Timeless Tony Storm gimmick has given her more of a creative feel about what she wants to do with that older character. And heck, I'm not against trying to see what the experiment would be like. And but yeah, I'm totally with you. I think AEW does need a great deal of that sports entertainment aspect of it, and she really did bring it. Hopefully, they can find it in certain manners and ways.
And it was funny. It was genuinely funny stuff, And it wasn't so. It was a little bit a bit silly and over the top in some ways, but here, for lack of a better phrase, and some fans of female wrestling get mad at me, it was a good mid card act. It was a perfect mid card act, perfect amount of levity, on a show that needs it, where everyone's so serious, And then when she got the turn, when Mariah May turned on her, it was well executed. You know what I mean? And really leveled Mariah up. I mean, and also think about this: how much over was Timeless Tony Storm than the multi-million-dollar investment you made in Mercedes Renato?
That's it.
And Mercedes Monet, and that character that was supposed to move the needle and sell tickets and simply has not done that. And I'm not saying that she's not talented or anything like that, but that character is just not clicking. And that there's things you can do with it, and it's a big name. But you had Timeless Tony Storm go away for a long time. Now she's back as Tony Storm. Like I said, she should have pulled the trigger. Something interesting, though, that I was texting with some friends about who did get to the show was this messy situation with Adam Cole still chasing MJF. Adam Cole is now the babyface again. MJF is now the heel. They've gone back and forth in this angle. This is a tandem, a duo that was together. They were buddies, and they broke up. And they got to headline a stadium together in AEW's biggest main event, biggest show ever. And then it's been a messy situation ever since. And it's been over a year of trying to figure out this storyline that has lost more and more steam every time it's been presented. Sometimes it's been, when MJF came back, it was exciting. He kicked him in the crotch. That was it. It was done, right? And Adam Cole had an unfortunate injury that simply wouldn't heal, but they're trying to get him out there, and it isn't healing, so let's get him off TV. And it's just it's not working. Some of it's just the circumstances working against it, and you can't pick up the momentum where you left it, right?
Right, absolutely.
It simply doesn't have that. And AEW as a company 5 years in doesn't have that, where they can just pick up momentum when somebody's been gone. Their audience doesn't process the stories that way. That's just the way it is. WWE has the benefit of everybody can just give you a video package. I don't know why. I know it seems like a double standard, but it's the truth. I've just seen it over and over again. Where if somebody's gone too long and they come back, they can't pick it up where they left it off. You think they should, right? That's the logic we're computed to. But I'm seeing with them, they can't just pick it up where they left it off when somebody's away that long. And I wish they would. I wish they would. You have this situation, though, the Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole match, great match. These are two guys that know each other really, really well. Personal issues. The guy who wins gets to take on MJF. They both have issues with MJF. And the guy who wins gets to do it. So at World's End, we have a big match. It's made. We're going to get MJF versus Adam Cole. Adam Cole getting past Kyle O'Reilly. Great match. They get two different commercial segments with this. This is AEW. This is what you want. Great banger matches. It's not a Continental Classic type thing. It's a personal issue. Okay, dial it back to that. Two guys that know each other. Okay, let's get it really, really dialed into those things. Clear up the whole undisputed stuff. Okay, all right. Can we just wrap this thing up? Get it done. Make it special.
That's exactly how I feel, though. Is like I don't care. Like I think the O'Reilly.
I care more. I care more than I thought I would a little bit at this point.
I can maybe subscribe to that too a little bit, but I do ultimately don't. I just think it's not helping either MJF or Adam Cole in this situation, because I just feel that they should be in better positions of what they're doing. This just seems like, okay, yeah, there's a reason that these two are feuding, but it doesn't add to the value, I think, overall of the product of it, making it seem like these big stars are really going at it with one another. I think this thing is snake bitten to much of what you described and laid out for everybody. And I just want it to be over with. I wanted World's End to be the end of this thing, because it's like, let's get these guys into something different. Because if I feel like that Cole should be a primary factor in this whole, what they're trying to convey with the Death Riders angle, which is another thing that I'm just not really buying into. And it's, you want to make things feel like a bigger deal. And it's kind of, this was like, aside from the Toni Storm thing last night and the Bandito vignette, did you see that?
No, I've not.
Oh my gosh, it was great. That's how you promote somebody is what they did there. You have to check that out, because I think they're kind of building him up to feel like a big deal. And it seems it's great stuff. But aside from Toni Storm and Bandito, this was a part of the course kind of Dynamite from a storytelling aspect. I think they didn't really convey anything super, super big when it comes to what the Death Riders want to do and what their intentions are. Darby's just still there going up against them. It really did not keep me more and more engaged to see what's next for this thing. And
are we getting Darby and Mox at the pay-per-view? What are we getting?
No, so Mox made the announcement that it's going to be a fatal four-way between him, Jay White, Hangman Page, and Orange Cassidy for the championship.
So they're still teasing the Darby thing in the background.
Still teasing the Darby thing in the background and all that stuff, but no factor him coming into play at the pay-per-view.
I don't mind the pay-per-view. It's a messy situation. Jay White and Hangman hate each other, right? They're going to hate each other. Mm-hmm. The other gentleman, Orange Cassidy, certainly hates Moxley. Mm-hmm. But it's three different elements. It's a four-way match. Lends itself to even more interference. Yep. Lends itself to a messy situation, and lends itself to Moxley leaving World's End with the title.
Yep, it does. And it does. And hopefully it leads to something where it's like, okay, we have a big story development here. Where it comes like, because
Eric has a great comment here. I got to bring up the logic of this.
Sure. Why is Moxley a heel proposing a four-way match when he can lose the title without getting pinned? I think it speaks to like he's got a game plan in place. You know what I mean? Where I don't know. Maybe he wants all three guys in the ring with him at one point for a certain reason. But yeah, it is like just on the surface, it's counterproductive. And the commentators did a good job at being like, well, that's Mox puts himself at a disadvantage at doing that. They said that on commentary during the show. So I think they addressed it. But I think if you're thinking a little bit,
it's just weird that he would present the match himself.
Sure, right? Yeah, it does. But
what's the logic in that?
Mm-hmm. What is it? Because you're just putting yourself all at risk. Moxley did a good promo. I will say that. I think the fact that he's like, we're not about the titles. You guys are about your egos, and they never come out with the belts. They don't come out with the trios champion.
I love that they hide the belt.
Moxley doesn't come out with the title. He didn't do that during the opening match.
I love that they whatever title they have goes in a box and no one gets to see it.
And nobody gets it because that's an aspect I really do like about it. But I don't know if you felt the same way, Kevin, but as I've been watching this, it just feels like a watered down NWO where they're just not. NWO attacked people and took people out. These guys attack people, but then these people come back. And then on top of
because they don't have the star power on the roster to lose them.
they don't, but did Mike catch us knock over coffee? Yes, he did.
What happened? You got to run in right now, brother.
Oh, my cat is causing mass chaos here. Thankfully, it wasn't that bad. All right, he just knocked over some coffee.
All right, there we go.
I'll let future Dom.
Is that Dusty? Who's running in there? Is that Dusty?
Dusty is no longer with us, unfortunately.
Oh, God rest his soul.
Mm-hmm. I love
up
Dusty.
Up there.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Yep. He's working the cat matches in heaven. There we go.
He's booking with the other Dusty right now. So,
have you speaking of a random thing? Have you seen this? There's a clip someone sent me, and it was just Bret Hart not giving a shit in WCW and sneaking in shout outs to his cat and promos.
Yes. Smokey,
a cat that is likely long gone to kitty heaven, but he's sneaking in just before I get into this next match. I wanted to talk about my sweet cat at home in Vancouver, BC.
Yes.
I dedicate this next match, this next defense of the United States Heavyweight Championship to my cat, Smokey.
I love it. Man.
I love it, dude. Hell yeah, dude. Dogs, cats are over. People love them. Larry the dog. Selling merch over for CM Punk in WWE.
Larry's making the monies, and Farrell, he used to be it too. Now he's on the retirement plan. But that's what I liked about the Hart family. If you read Bret Hart's biography and stuff like that, Stu is always welcome of animals in the house and stuff like that.
You got to get yourself a working dog.
That's it. So,
show some discipline.
Yeah, show some discipline. Yeah, here, Devin's got the quote. Shout out to my one and only true fan out there, Smokey, my cat. Yes.
Like you ungrateful Americans.
Yes. If you think Bret Hart can't cut a promo, you got to check that out. You got to check the El Dandy promo out. He's got it down.
You know who's a great talent in WCW? El Dandy. Out of nowhere. Just
jam up guy, heck of a wrestler.
So AEW, how about that?
Yeah, so AEW, man. Yeah. What overall do you think of this Death Riders thing? Are you into it? Is this what do you think? Where do you want to see this go?
I thought that's how you wanted to end Bryan Danielson's in-ring career, possibly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You had this Empire Strikes Back heartbreaking scene of Bryan Danielson has been crushed. Jon Moxley is a ruthless leader, and look, everyone he's assembled. He's assembled this group that has turned on Bryan Danielson, and look at all of the vanquished baby faces at ringside and all of this, right?
Yeah,
I thought that was very good storytelling. It's a bummer note to end a pay-per-view, but I thought they had a lot to launch on after that.
Yeah,
the assemblance of forces they've brought since then is like they beat people down. They get to come back. It's fine, right? But they need that. That's okay. That's all right. And they're very, very violent, and they do some violent, wild things, and they have great wrestlers in their crew. There's just this missing factor of it. Like it isn't as pristinely dialed into the biggest notes it can possibly be. If the biggest notes are, I'm going to pour Drano down your throat.
Yeah.
And maybe hit you with a car, like there's some of that. So it's like, well, like it just comes off like action movie stuff, but then there isn't but they're just in white t-shirts, like there's no iconography that makes them feel like anything. There's no branding that makes them feel like anything. I'm bringing up aesthetics. I know everyone's like, well, what does it matter? It's just about kicking ass. It matters when you're on television.
Yeah, it does.
It matters when you're on television. It matters when somebody just tunes into the show who hasn't watched it in a while. It matters when you're there live. I can say that too. I saw this show live a few weeks ago when they started the angle. I didn't mind it. I would have. Here's another thing. I wouldn't mind if Jon Moxley wasn't on the pay-per-view.
Yeah,
and you did something at the pay-per-view that designed whoever gets the next shot at him. Could have been just as compelling, or have him as the referee in a match between two guys he hates, and the winner gets a shot at him. You could do some interesting, shenanigans there and do the run and stuff, but it'd be more compelling. They're doing this Fatal 4-Way match. I know he's not losing the title.
Yeah.
It's a pay-per-view, and the champion does not feel in danger.
No, not at all. It's
at least with the Roman Reigns had the title forever, right? Mm-hmm. Whenever they got you to think he could lose the title for 2.5 seconds, they got you.
They did.
You knew going in he would likely leave, but if they could compel you to get behind the guy who's going at him, that's what mattered. They're not compelling me to get behind anyone who's going up against Jon Moxley. They're not compelling a collective force against him. I could see a blood and guts match if you could get enough people together that don't like the Death Riders, right?
For sure, yeah. But
it's not all bad. I don't want to poo-poo on everything.
No, it's not all bad, but there's certainly, I think it's more bad than it is good. I'm going to say that, I think there's, like, we talk about how Moxley, is, well, when you think about something like the NWO, there's that air of mystery of like, okay, hey, who's the third man? We got Scott Hall, we got Kevin Nash coming in here and attacking people. They're the outsiders. They're not going by their other names, and they're running roughshod on the WCW roster. And then they got a third guy that's going to show up. Who is this? Well, there's no intrigue of mystery of what's to come with the Death Riders here. They maybe tease something at the beginning, but for the greater good or whatever Moxley was saying, but they haven't been addressing it on commentary. There's just like the Death Riders, you got to watch out for them. And then what they do is they have a match to open up the show. They almost lose that match, and then they end up winning, but then they bail. And then Claudio later on loses in the Continental Classic. It's just like these guys aren't feeling like, oh, they're such a threat, when it comes to the nuts and bolts of everything like that. And Wrestling Old Head says here too, it really feels like they're week to week with the Death Riders, not a whole lot of planning ahead. And I almost get that vibe when you started incorporating Hangman Page and Jay White into the mix of it all, because that really was unexpected, out of left field. It's like, do they have a direction here, or is this just like, are they shooting from the hip a lot from week to week? It seems like that. Or
I think they have a big point they want to end at, but how they're going to get there is the week to week.
Yeah. It's going to be a wait and see kind of thing, but I think we're waiting a little bit too long on it, to be honest. It's just like chemical pouring Drano down people's throats, plastic bags. That's a short shelf life with stuff. I don't think it ultimately isn't a good thing for them to be doing. Said it's not done a good job really legitimizing their top contenders out of the three. Jay White is the only one deserving of this title shot with 2 wins over Page, but fans aren't into him as a face. Yes, so I agree with that too. But I do like Jay White as a face. I think I agree that he's the only one deserving as it, but they haven't done a good job at making him like a big primary focus as a baby face.
No,
they haven't. So, but there were some good matches. We saw Will Ospreay, like I said, taking on Claudio, even though I don't like the result of him losing. I thought that was a great match. Brody King going up against, oh my gosh, who did he? Oh, Ricochet was good. And they teased a little bit of a heel turn for Ricochet, which I think is kind of needed for him, right?
Yeah.
What do you feel, Kev?
Think so. Ricochet hasn't. I saw Ricochet in action for them on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And got a great reaction and had a great match, but it feels like a lot of the same. You're going to get a fantastic match from him. And then what else?
Yeah. What's next?
I think there's some compelling things you could do with him as a heel and get him back to being a babyface.
Yeah.
He needs a character. He needs to be able to do dynamic things. He was doing some stuff near the end with WWE. Especially also, everyone says that they buried him on the way out. No, he got a great send off. To get carted out on an ambulance, and written off to get someone else over means they value you and they can use you to propel someone else. I think he needs to have someone propel him now in AEW because it's a new landscape, and he just needs a fresh coat of paint. He needs a personal issue with somebody.
Yeah.
And the content of the classic, it's a tournament, it's great, lends itself to his talents on paper, but it doesn't lend itself to its character development in a way if you're not going to have him win it. And it doesn't feel, I don't feel like he's the guy to win it. I feel like it's Osprey's thing to win. I think everything with AEW top heavy is getting Osprey ready for a world title run at one point or another, and building to that. And so, and in the background, I think Osprey's the guy who can take out Death Riders. I think Osprey's that guy, but we're not going to pull that trigger just yet. I think that's a double or nothing match. Osprey Moxley is a double or nothing match. But that aside, Ricochet is a guy I think you could do some really, really serious things with as a heel. But you got a lot of serious heels. You got a lot of like tonally similar villains. So how do you make him different? What do you do, and make it like stand out, So I want to know what that is. Is it a manager? Is it something different? Is it definitely don't put them in a faction, because you got a lot of guys that are just already lumped together in different groups, and that's eaten up a lot of talent and hasn't been as beneficial to people as it could be. But something. He needs something.
And it looks like, he made the indication that he is maybe headed to the Hurt Syndicate as a part of them. He showed the card to Renee, and
that wouldn't be the worst thing.
Yeah, and you know what? He got some boos in that Brody King match. Like he was kind of the heel in that match.
Brody getting over, huh?
Brody's getting over, which is cool. Which is cool to see.
He had a great match when I saw him live a few weeks ago.
Yeah, he's a talent, man,
and a little bit more of like a stern, kind of like a Bam Bam Bigelow babyface type guy. Yeah. You remind me of like an ECW babyface.
And what's cool too, I liked the look. I know House of Black have their own kind of identity and vibe, but he came out with a ski mask on over.
Yeah, that's the hardcore singing stuff. That's God's hate. That's his world that he comes from. That's him, man.
Yeah, so I think they're presenting him well, and I was okay with him losing in this because I really do think Ricochet needs a string of wins, and you just got to really build behind him if you want to put a concerted effort into making him one of your top stars for the company. But hey, speaking of Hurt Syndicate, we didn't get any indication of them on the show, which, I would have loved them to follow up in some form or fashion, whether that's a video package or something. But I don't. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, but I don't think I saw anything where they promoted MVP or they promoted Lashley or they promoted Shelton Benjamin on the show. So, and I think you always want to do that, and they didn't do it there. So, but yeah, I think those were the big takeaways from Dynamite. I think I don't think there's anything else really to inspiring or like really something to sink our teeth into when it comes to
I have some AEW questions for you.
Yeah, sure.
That pertain to their business.
Oh, okay.
A handful of big things coming up for them in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest is going to be, I'll do the small one first. Okay. Smaller, even though it's a stadium issue. They got the big stadium show coming up, all in Texas. They did the big roll up for this. People critical of how many people showed up on the street for a press conference. Shut up. It was outside, it was free, it was public, it was fun. And it feels like a big event, and they had some big names come out to push the event. Obviously, they don't have any matches for this.
Nope.
A stadium event by them in the United States. The first time they're going to try and do this. And obviously, they've done stadium events successfully twice now in the UK. Both those shows were successful, by the way. One of them was hugely successful. The other one was significantly successful. And both of them drew over 50,000 fans. 50,000 people bought tickets to a wrestling show. That's still very, very good. It's a great non-WWE number, all right? Bigger than New Japan, by the way. Bigger than anybody else, so everyone's complaining. You got to put that into perspective, okay? But to do it in the United States is a whole other challenge. They did this in this cooperational deal with a handful of different sports and entertainment entities in Texas, just like WWE's doing, to get these sweetheart deals. And they had that commitment in the area in Arlington to do a series of shows that drew okay crowds, but in a small studio setting at the E arena they were running in.
Right.
But now you're going to try and run a baseball stadium. The Australia show overseas, you already moved from a stadium into an arena out there. So what is the change in business there? It's a hard thing. They're going to run Ranger Stadium. You're really, really going to try and get a crowd out there for this.
Right.
And it's going to be, I think it's going to be a significant challenge for them in terms of what they have to offer. What can they put in that show that is going to appeal to the masses beyond what they have? What is it going to make someone who's never heard of AEW want to buy a ticket?
Right. That's the tough issue. I mean, you have Sting showed up, but he's retired. Danielson showed up, and I'm sure maybe he is factored into that at some of to be in a match, I'm sure. But right now he's not there, and things like that. So it's just like, will he pack enough of a punch to fill that stadium? I don't think so. I think you kind of need a little bit more oomph behind it, and you need something really unexpected and big time to fill that thing up if you have that chance. I think it's going to be a tough thing to do. I don't think if I had to really venture a guess, I don't think they're going to sell out that place. Hopefully they get a respectable enough crowd though. But
I mean, if you what's the capacity there? Like 40,000, something like that?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I think the name's Global Life Stadium or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm looking it up.
But I do think having StarCast be partnered up with it, you are getting hopefully some talents outside of AEW to be a part of that.
I understand that was announced with this, but there was going to be maybe a different announcement with that. So I'm not trying to confuse the ad-free show messaging, but
yeah,
it's always good when you have a StarCast connected with the show. Sure. I've gone to those weekends; those are always great. 40,000 is the capacity. That doesn't mean they're going to do 40. They could do 45,000 for concerts, by the way, because you could have the floor there as well. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, this is in Arlington, right outside of Dallas.
Yeah, and so I think they have an opportunity to make it feel special. Again, though, Kevin, I think it all boils down to what you do on a week-to-week basis to build up to that. When it comes to like, hey, you got to get fans invested, and you have to make these storylines make sense, and have that what you were saying, that sports entertainment aspect to add that value to your overall presentation of a product. And AEW has not done the best at doing that whatsoever. So it's just like you have to be mindful. I said this yesterday too, and I don't know how you feel, but I always just feel like Tony Khan has to just start delegating stuff and letting go of some of the reins that he has, where it's just like, hey, take care of this. I'll ultimately have the final say, but let's see what you're doing. He needs a GM, like a legit GM, not like an on-air GM. He needs a GM to help him get all this stuff down. But I don't see that foresee that happening. So.
Well, tickets are on sale for AEW All In Texas. That is Saturday, July 2nd. Saturday, July 12th. I misread that. Excuse me about that.
July 12th,
and they have packages, all this stuff, AEWTix.com. Another big AEW thing I want to cover here.
Yeah. What's that?
Dynamite.
Okay.
Will be simulcasting. I know we've known about this, but I have HBO Max. I still call it that. You can't help it.
No.
I have Max. I like it as a streaming service. Been watching The Penguin. All right.
I hear
Don't mind it. Yeah, very good show. Very good show. But it has some live sports elements. They were one of the, they were getting behind that. Netflix, their presentation of live things.
Yeah.
Questionable to some people. But that's a different story. So they're going to be on this. I think it's going to be, this is the sleeper thing. I was working on a video about the issues of Dynamite, the ups and downs of Dynamite. And I said, this is the biggest thing that's happened to them as a media deal.
Yeah.
The amount of people that have Max or are more prone to using it is a lot more than, cable. And we're in that transitional period between people cutting the cord, going to the thing, right? And now your internet service providers are giving you streaming services within your internet deal. You get my cell phone, the T-Mobile has a deal, you get on this service, right? The bundling is now a clear thing. I have a bundle of 3 of my services together, right? Yeah. That's going to make it a lot easier. This was the biggest element I think they needed, no matter what, whether it was the pay-per-view or something like that. They needed to get the weekly television show to as many people on a service where it's very accessible, live, and very quickly. So you're going to get Dynamite on there, and I think this is a fantastic thing. For me, it's not how good, it's not like whether or not this is good, it's how good is this. Yeah, because to me, it's very, very good. I want to know what the pay-per-views are going to cost. I know that's a major thing. If they're going to sell you a pay-per-view through Max, similar like ESPN Plus is doing with like UFC.
Right.
But I want to know what that price point is. They haven't been clear about what that's going to be. And I think you got to change how you present those shows. So maybe the standard of what those events will be different. But, WWE, so I don't think people judge the PLEs as hard. They should. But I don't think they judge them as hard because I just get it with my subscription service, and some of them are good. I don't think WWE, by the way, has had a bad premium live event, and like they've had some that are better than others,
Right.
But I don't think they've had a flat out bad show in
I agree.
a long time, Whereas with AEW, it's like some things on the show are amazing, and other things are like, this was there, So that's been the recent temperament here. So I think in 2025, there's just some stuff that hopefully they're sitting on. Kenny Omega's going to come back to New Japan, but he's not doing an AEW. That's weird. Where are the Young Bucks? They're not there. They're not around.
They're New Japan too right now.
They're going to do New Japan as well. That's
so weird.
But it's not that weird when you consider how many New Japan guys have come over to AEW. It's just weird because they're such all elite guys. So there's just a lot of good things. Like, what do you else think can happen for them in 2025 that is positive? I don't want to be all like negative. Because they got a new TV deal. Like, there's some safety there,
There is. I mean, I think the big thing would be Kenny Omega returning and making him feel like a big deal. That's like a real sticking point, I think. I think Shane McMahon being on the table feels like, something that you could really kind of cultivate if you want. And so, I mean, those are some options, but what is ultimately the grand scheme of it all? How is it all going to come into play? Because, you don't have that real big star power right now. I don't think anybody, I mean, Ospreay has that potential, but there's not somebody that really hits you as like, I have to tune into this.
And the stars they have don't feel as big as they did when they came over.
That's exactly it.
Jericho's still a great pro wrestler and a great character and stuff like that. I'm not saying his star power is waned, but it's just naturally, if he's not going to be at the top of the card, he's not going to feel as big as he once was. It's just he's playing a different role, and he's playing a productive role. He's doing some stuff for Ring of Honor. I think that's bigger than maybe even Ring of Honor deserves, but he's doing it, and making it count. And I guess pissing off people in GCW in the process, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
So there's other things there. Moxley should feel as big as he is. Doesn't feel as big as he is. Mercedes Moné should feel bigger than she is. There should be more people to shows. Like, it's not me crapping on it. It's me saying you got everything here. There's other issues. There's other issues here. It isn't the talent. No. It just isn't the talent.
No, it isn't. It isn't. It's the P's and Q's that you got to mind throughout on a weekly basis, and they're not doing it. It's like, I think Tony Khan has a certain way he views wrestling, and he presents it in that fashion, but is not looking out at the greater scheme of it all, of what really attracts the outside fans. You're going to have your ardent fans that tune into these great matches and stuff like that, but what are you doing to get a bigger base into your programming? So, but I'm with you too with the streaming and the HBO and being on Max and stuff like that. I think that's a good outlet to do it. How are you going to present it to get that casual fan that's tuning into the Penguin or tuning into I don't know what hit HBO shows on right now, but whatever.
You got all the DC movies, you got everything on. You have a lot of great stuff there.
So what are you going to do to really bring some more folks in that you aren't doing right now? I think that's what he has to really be mindful of. There's no immediate solution when it comes to like, hey, I'm going to fill up this for All In. This is a work in progress across the board when it comes to making it feel viable on Max, making the payoff for All In have those big ticket sales. So what are they going to do? There's no immediate solution. It's going to be a week to week kind of process for them to kind of do something if they can achieve it, which I hope they do.
And it's not going to be getting a major name from WWE to sign with you, as we kind of see so many of those names are sticking with WWE.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And when we thought 2024 was going to be a big contract year, it's turned into more of shoring up people than
It is.
seeing people
We're
with
like, hey,
effects.
yeah, I see all the announcements. Hey, Drew McIntyre signed a new deal.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens signed a new deal. It's just like, all right, well, yeah, that's all. Everybody off the table. No, this is you either create new stars or you try to cultivate what you have with the established stars. But it's an uphill battle right now because they aren't.
But I think that if they're going to go to smaller venues, it'd be smart.
Which is good.
It's a good. It's not. It's such a bad. No. Do the smart thing. Play 2,000 seater theaters and stuff, and make it feel different.
Absolutely.
And do something. Oh, we can sell a beer sponsor because our crowd is older. And we can sell to 2,500, 3,000 tickets. All right, play a room where you can do that. If that's a theater, do it. Know what I mean? The cavernous arena thing, like do something different that makes you feel different. WCW pivoted. Say whatever you want about Bischoff. He was smart. The way when he represented Nitro on a smaller scale that still felt big time. In terms of how you can shoot it and produce it. Mall of America, do the Nitro thing. That'd be fun, right? Like
the fucking I can't swear on here. The freaking what is it? When they went to Panama City.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember what that
College Game Day. Do Dynamite from that.
Outside,
where's the Super Bowl? Where's the Super Bowl?
Fine.
We're gonna do Collision the night before the Super Bowl in a parking lot. Come out and see it. You know what I mean? Yes, let's do that. Let's do something fun. Can we talk Saturday night's main event before we get out of here? I know it's
sure, but you know what? Something else is getting some good sponsors like that they could.
Oh, good spot. I'm sorry.
Good one.
I'm so sorry. I'm so
sorry. It would be Mando. Mando's a great sponsor because if you're in a big crowd and you're thinking about wrestling fans, don't want to stereotype, but we have a notorious reputation for not smelling.
What's that? Smellomania?
Smellomania. That's it. And you know what? Mando helps you out with that. I have to say, I love Mando. It's one of my favorite sponsors. They have whole body deodorant. They have deodorant. Whole body. You can use it anywhere. And that's what they say, too. You can use it anywhere. It's created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. And it's clinically proven to block odor all day and control body odor for up to 72 hours. So
72 hours.
72 hours. And Kev, these scents are awesome. We have the Pro Sports scent. You have the bourbon leather. My favorite is the Mount Fuji. And
Mount Fuji. What?
Fuji. And the
does that scent manage demolition?
It does. Yeah, that's it. They made it demolition. They definitely helped Axe and Smash smell good when they got to the ring. But Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code RUMOR at shopmando.com. That's SHOPMANDO.com. Please support our show and tell them that me, Kevin, and Robert sent you. Small, smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. So there we go.
Good endorsement for the great people at Mando here. Thanks to Mando, I no longer smell like a used mop that was left in the pantry for a month. Thanks, Mando.
I break the convention of what wrestling fans either smell like.
Don't smell like a mop.
Don't smell like a mop, guys. Come on. But Kev, Saturday night's main event. We are both millennials. You're a millennial, right? Yeah, you're like a later millennial.
Xennial is the technical term.
You're a xennial.
So I'm in that little gap.
Okay. And so
we're 83 baby, but I can tell you when you were looking through into the late 80s, I'm talking like a little child. I love me some Saturday Night Live. That was the night I could really stay up late, watch TV. It was Friday and Saturday. I'm talking like late. I'd just be like, all right, that's a night. Unless you got sports on Saturday morning, you can. All right, you've noticed with this television demand that you have. So I love SNL. There would be some Saturday nights where there wasn't an SNL. No, it was Hulk Hogan wrestling at 10:30 on a Saturday night. Dan, order a pizza. All right. And he would really just reheat pizza from Friday night. But it was a
pizza.
It was an order pizza event for wrestling on the television. All right. Like a pay-per-view on TV. And it was a grand affair. Dick Ebersol. I just did a Sportskeeda Wrestling. I just did a great retrospective about how important this event is. I think in the perspective of the business, like what things really made wrestling bigger. You know, you talk about, oh, it's the cable TV, right? Huge. The WWE network going streaming and like going direct to consumer and getting ahead of the curve. I thought that was a brilliant move that WWE made.
Right.
The most pivotal move that they ever made was, the other issues aside, was Vince McMahon's dealings with Dick Ebersol on NBC.
Yeah.
The MTV, cable TV, you had it locked down, but cable still wasn't completely there in 84. All right. It was still a national TV game. You had to be on national television, coast to coast. All right. And no pro wrestling had been doing that since black and white TV. All right. The Dumont network, you know, I mean, like that was the thing that launched television. But it then went into just syndicated TV, cable TV, those different things, territorial systems, and so forth. But here we are. The move to get WWE into a periodic quarterly television special that supported everything they were doing already on cable TV and syndicated television is so pivotal. The audience numbers they scored at the time when they were red hot with Hulk Hogan were huge, like huge numbers. You know, everyone talked about Attitude Era television, this, and the ratings don't. That's such a ridiculous thing to bring up when you compare TV numbers now from then, because there's so many more media choices and stuff like that. It's silly. You know, the buffet is infinite, you know, like in terms of television. Back then, it was just you had 4 or 5 things you could fill your plate with, you know. But the fact that you had limited choices, and one of those choices was professional wrestling, is big, you know. And eventually they did the main event. The one-off was Hulk Hogan and Andre in the rematch from WrestleMania 3. 33 million people watched it.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that WWE's done outside of WrestleMania in terms of a televised event is Saturday Night's main event.
Oh, 100%. 100%. You know?
When you look at the history, and it's such a special event, I'm looking forward to it. But just as they're going to do the next big clip over media deal with Netflix, they're going to have this, which I think is still, they anchor themselves in both worlds. Nick Khan and WWE really have figured out how to nail these media deals down and sell WWE as WWE is the NFL of professional wrestling. And they've hammered this thing in, and I think they need to not just make this feel like, oh, a fun show with some good angles that build to the Royal Rumble. And we're going to announce some people for the Royal Rumble. And here's this. They got to do something this Saturday night that has people talking.
Yeah.
And running to check out what they're doing on Netflix.
I think this would be a good launching point to really heat up things for WrestleMania too. And just gets people engaged and ready to go. Because, you got Netflix and then you have WrestleMania 4th.
That's in a few weeks. It's 2 weeks.
It's crazy to think about that, but Kev, that's an excellent point too. Is they're covering their bases. It's like Netflix, its own streaming service, things like that. But you're still dipping your toe back into what the bread and butter used to be for television.
And you're gonna be spinning the wheel with NBC and Peacock, for the next year and change.
Absolutely.
And what's to say you don't want to keep doing that?
Right.
You know,
you're a USA Network, so that's under the NBC umbrella. So it's just you're all right there.
You get. I know fans internationally, you guys are going to get everything from WWE. I know outside the United States, it's all going to be on Netflix, right? My assumption is I think they may go that way completely, you know. But they want to stay in cable television where there is hard rights fees, you know, and a presentation that connects you to people that don't churn and burn off the other services, you know. So I think it's smart what they're doing. I'm counting down the days that I can drop Peacock.
Yeah, right. Well,
different story.
Yeah, the thing is too. I think there was a report by Meltzer and them that the library is going to be very, very thin moving forward.
I was bothered by that. No, they've done some stuff of offering a lot of things for free on this new WWE YouTube. But it's also you still have to go through YouTube. The interface through YouTube is not the same. Is YouTube where you want to watch next to you and I's bald head? Is that where you want to watch classic stuff? They have full cards on there. Are they going to put a full? They've put a full WrestleMania up on YouTube once or twice, right? The first 1 or 2 just to boost the interest. But to me, I want the catalog. That's the one thing I'm like, Netflix, come on, dude. Like, is this part of the rights? Like, give me the full shows. Give me the full back catalog. You tell me Netflix doesn't have the capacity to hold that library? I don't know about that, you know?
my question will be: Is WWE going to make its own separate kind of thing for like the old school stuff?
They could,
Library,
you
where
know.
it's like a new network, but maybe it's
Then
its own.
why get rid of the network? My
Why
thing
do
is like keep the network, and the network is just the library,
maybe if they're pivoting away from Peacock and stuff like that, then you can
and
present
they just call it WWE Vault,
Vault or something like
yeah,
that, and you can subscribe as an ardent fan. You can subscribe to it and ingest all that stuff, and there'll be just more content on there ultimately when it's all said and done. I don't know. Hopefully, I'm cautiously optimistic that maybe it is. I know people are kind of bummed that all this stuff is going away, but I wouldn't think. I think WWE's, like you said, Triple H, Nick Khan, they're all smart enough to realize, hey, there's a lot.
But also, there's plenty of people that look at that and they say, "Oh, the back catalog isn't the major thing that people subscribe for. If they subscribe for WWE, it's the live events that just happened, the big premium live events every month." And there's some truth to that, But I love me putting on a What Happened When with Tony Schiavone and him commentating over something, and I gotta have my classic, Peacock subscription, and I pull it up, I put that event, sync them up, and that's my favorite thing to like. I watch first few chunk of that. And then, I'm dozing off. This is my nice little sleepy time. I click stop. I go to bed. I wake up, and the next night, I have a little note right where it was. I pick up, I sync them back up, and I try and figure it out. Oh, great! And I start the show again. And that'll be my sleepy time tea. Is just Tony Schiavone and Conrad riffing over shows, ad-free shows.
That's right. Hey,
worth every penny. Go get it.
It is absolutely. So check it out. Check out What Happened When for sure. Friend of the show, Tony Schiavone. And Kevin, you're a friend of the show too. Remember Innuendo. How do we get what you talk about Sportskeeda? You talk about all this other stuff.
I'm gonna be live. I'm gonna be live in about 40 minutes with them.
Oh, okay, nice.
Go over to the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel. We're gonna be covering some big things coming out of WrestleVotes today. WrestleVotes in bed with Sportskeeda. All right, and our Backstage Pass Patreon. That show drops every Thursday, and I will be covering some news stories I'm expecting from that. Sportskeeda been dropping some big breaking news stories. Dr. Chris Featherstone getting some scooperoonies as well. So we'll be covering those. Those are coming up at 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. in the East. All right, and you can join us 11 a.m. in the on the West Coast as well. And get us over there on demand. It's Rings and Rambles every Thursday afternoon. Go check it out, and go listen to me goof around with Nick Harkson over there. And that's going to be in about 40 minutes. Just Sportskeeda Wrestling on YouTube, and of course you can get the podcast feed of it anywhere. On that same feed, you're getting weekly Raw reviews from Vince Russo, and you can find out how much he hated this last thing that WWE did, or loved it. Surprised? Yeah. So like those are available. So go get that wherever you get your podcasts, all that good stuff. Instagram, I'm doing a bunch of different stuff for Sportskeeda there as well. And then Q101, I'm very busy with the greatest alternative rock radio station in the nation. Smashing Pumpkins sold out tonight at the Aragon, and we're gonna have Bush with Payal Royale tomorrow night as well. You can listen to us anywhere in the world, Q101.com. If you like alternative rock music, that is a show. I will be on air for them Saturday afternoon.
Hey, how about that? So tune into that. Support Kev.
A lot of comedy stuff too. I just did a big comedy tour, which was great.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
You're all good at that too. You're a jack of all trades and a master of all. I'll say that as well.
A jack off of all trades.
hey.
Am I going to be seeing you at the Rumbles of Royals in the great state of Indiana?
That's the game plan. I'm going to see how the everything lays out. But yes, hopefully you will see me there. That's
all right.
Agenda for February.
There we go. You and I are going to try and find somewhere to eat at 11:30 at night.
Ooh, I know. Isn't that
we've done that before? Where do we eat? Where do we eat?
What do we do? Is there a bar open? Something?
All right. Reapply the Mando there.
I reapply the Mando. That's you got.
Devin Dowling saying, I already follow Sportskeeda. Well, hey, check out the show I do on Thursday. This is going to be coming up in about half an hour. So there you go.
And guys, you can check out later tonight. Me and Rob Van Dam going live. RVDTV.com. You can go to RVD's YouTube channel. But definitely go check it out. Ask some questions. Rob will have a good game plan tonight. I'll have some notes for Rob to maybe some questions and stuff. But we got a new kind of format maybe cooking up too tonight. So check it out. 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be going live. RVDTV.com. Check it out and support the show and support Kev. Kev, thanks for supporting me today and tagging in. And
I'll do it again in the future. I was checking out the show. I was like, my sweet Dominic is solo, and I can't
I'm
have
flying
that.
solo this whole week. And tomorrow, guys, just a little update. We'll do a show. It will be at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time instead of noon. I have a doctor's appointment I must go to. So I will be doing the show later on tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. A little time frame change there. So, but Kev, thanks for joining in. Everybody, thanks for joining in the chat. Devin Dallin, Triple E, Droid J, Eric, I see tuned in there too, and Wrestling Old Head, of course, Michael Watson. So shout out to all you fine folks, and we'll see you tomorrow here on Rumor and Innuendo. Hey, Kev, best of luck in your future endeavors.